the second review, I'm gonna just help set it up. Is the Black Panther, which is part of the Marvel Universe.
Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU.
Marvel Cinematic Universe.
You know, somewhere right now they're like, get it right.
I know, right? Marvel Cinematic Universe. And this is part of their series. And he first got introduced in the Captain America.
Captain America Civil War.
Captain America Civil War. And he was very popular. A lot of people...
his introduction was amazing.
His introduction was amazing, and it really raised a lot of eyebrows as to say, wow, what if they made a film just about this guy? Which, obviously, they did. So the anticipation for this film, not just from a film standpoint, but from a cultural standpoint. And this is part of the mystique and magic of this film, because us as colored people, we're not going to reveal who we are, what kind of race we are, but
I think they can pretty much tell we are not of the Caucasian persuasion over here.
We're definitely not part of the Caucasian persuasion, but we
actually pull up the mask. Fooled you. Silly Negroes.
But getting to a more serious point, this film has a very cultural movement to it, because us as black people, we are not seen the way we are supposed to be seen in film. We are always seen as these... Go ahead.
Break out the kente cloth.
Yeah,
that's what this movie is. It's break out the kente cloth.
Break out the kente cloth, because we in film, we are not seen as how we're supposed to be seen, because
it's rare. I'll take it. It's rare that you get a film that really represents, first of all, that shows the continent, the original Africa, in a positive light.
Yeah.
And a actual technological light. A lot of times they try to act like it's this dark continent. They're all savages. Just like here, they'll say everyone's a thief or some shit. You have to play pimps and rapists for a long fucking time.
Mm-hmm.
And this movie, and I have a different take than most people in terms of the cultural aspects of this film. One reason it's culturally important is that between this and A Wrinkle in Time from Ava DuVernay that's coming out in a few weeks, which we'll do a review of too, this is the most money they ever gave to black directors ever. Up until Black Panther and A Wrinkle in Time, no black director has even gotten a $100 million budget for a movie. That's important to note.
Very important.
They wouldn't trust us with their money to make a movie. And they also, this broke a lot of stereotypes, this movie, because it's done so well. They said, well, we don't make black movies because they don't do well overseas, which has always been a lie and always made no sense. There are black people in every country in the world, and also black movies, white people can enjoy them too. They act like they can't across the world. What, everybody but Americans are racist?
Yeah, that's
I never
that makes
bought
no
into
sense.
that bullshit.
I never bought into it either.
Also, this thing is a cultural event about respect. When they opened this thing in Korea, people showed up out of respect in their traditional Korean garb. You understand? This was not just every culture's like, we're respected now. Also, I will tell people this. And this goes in the story too before we actually review the movie, because you kind of have to put in cultural context this movie.
Yeah, this is not your average film.
Yeah, so the thing about what's important about this movie is positive imagery in movies is the most important machine you can have. It's more important. It lasts longer than presidents. Because film lasts forever. 100 years from now, we'll remember Barack as the first black president, but we're not going to remember all his quotes and everything. There's a lot of people that are just not political out there. Listen, the one thing even the Nazis knew as a propaganda machine, Goebbels, I might be butchering his name, Goebbels was their propaganda minister. His biggest way of pushing propaganda to the world about Jews being this and Jews being that and doing evil shit was through film. He didn't do it through political speeches. He did it through movies. Hollywood type movies in Germany. You understand? Because they understood those images done right can last and do harm or do positive for generations to come. If all you see in movies is niggas being criminals, then people that don't see niggas from day to day are going to think all niggas are criminals.
In all parts of the world. So when you have, that's a very excellent point, because when us as black people go to other parts of the other parts of the planet, they think we are these people in these movies and these films. So as Mobius says, if they see us as pimps, prostitutes, and just assholes in these films, when they see us in their country, they think we're like that. So automatically, they're gonna put that defense up.
No, absolutely, they're gonna think little of you because you don't demand respect. And here's the thing: you can have a movie where a black guy's a pimp or something. I'm not even saying that, but you have to have a balance. See, here's the thing. There's white movies where they're starring a whole bunch of white people where they can be good or bad because there's so many of them where they're positive.
Exactly.
We only get a certain many movies a year that really go worldwide. So what happens is, if those 2-3 movies are negative, then that's what they're going to think about you.
Exactly.
They're going to think about you like that. So this is about respect. Also, this is not like one black guy surrounded by a white cast. This cast is 90% black in a $200 million movie.
Unheard of.
Also, it also shows empowerment to women, this movie. That's the thing, too, people are missing. And it shows you can be strong different ways as women. Because none of the women characters in this movie are the same.
Nope, they're different.
But you can see how they're strong in different ways. So that's why a lot of women are going to see this movie as well. It's kind of like, it got the Wonder Woman people because that was a strong female, but it also has the black identity movement with it. So it has combined both. That's why it's making so much money.
And that's really the that's why it's a cultural thing with this film. So it's not just about the pro-blackness and how we should be seen in film, which is very important, but also, like Mobius said, the female aspect of it, because women in these films are in position of power, generals, scientists, technology. So it's really an important film. So
because Wakanda is so important, because Wakanda is a place that's never been colonized. So they're so ahead of everybody. They think of women as equals because they survive outside of society or the normal workings of the world.
It's kind of like a Star Trek feel to it.
Yeah, it is basically there, but it's just like if one nation instead of the whole world and there was no federation, it's just one nation really lived so much outside of the world and had all this technology that they were like, no, why wouldn't I think a woman's equal? This movie also delves in the idea of generationally being better than the previous generation.
Yes.
Because Chadwick Boseman, who plays the Black Panther, is better than his father in the movie. He's a better human being. But his sister is better than him. See, it's a generational thing in this film. And it points that out, that you have to get better than the people before you. You can't be running into the same thing. You know what I'm saying? You can't be doing the same things your parents did. You should try to be better than them.
Exactly. So, with that being said,
now we'll get into the film.
We had to set it up.
And yeah, we had to set it with the cultural stuff, but we are going to give our honest opinion about the film.
Yes, we are.
It's not like
we're not going to be biased.
We're not going to be like, trust me, I want to be biased, but I can't do that. I can't do that, and also, I think the masses. One more thing before we do the film. There's a reason this movie's making also so much money so quickly. See, I think people underestimate how quickly people of color buy things and spend our money. We are the quickest at spending our money than anyone else.
Yeah.
There's a reason. Like, look it up. Most of the top-selling first weekend albums are almost exclusively hip-hop albums. Because we buy things quicker.
Yeah.
Like, I remember when Snoop's album broke the record for first day sales. I remember then what broke that? Wasn't No White Album. It was No Way Out by Puffy. Then it was Lil Wayne, Carter 3. It's almost exclusively first day sales or hip hop albums. Rock albums would a lot of times stay on the charts longer, but they wouldn't sell the same the first day. Because, especially hood dudes, want so much swag. We want to be the first to have shit because we don't have much. So we can afford albums at the time. So we want to be the first to say, I bump in that.
The power of the black dollar is very, very
It's stronger
powerful.
than people think.
It's stronger than people
And
think.
it's showing that now in this film.
And think about it like this: when Michael Jordan comes out with a fresh pair of Jordans, one thing about us as black people is we like to look good. We like to look fresh. We like to, we like to enjoy.
Especially hood dudes, because clothes is an illusion to having money.
Exactly.
And like the richer you get, a lot of times guys who grew up with money, some of them actually in their normal lives dress bummy.
Yes, that's
Well,
true.
we would consider bummy, but you would know that guy has $1 million because he grew up, having some kind of money, even if it was upper middle class.
That's true.
And they got rich and went to the best schools. We didn't have that. So that's just another thing. But now let's get into the movie. What did you think about Black Panther?
Okay, so first of all, give our listeners a little synopsis of what the film is about, and then I'll jump into what I think. All right?
Okay. Black Panther, they're not exactly clear, but it appears to take place about a week after Civil War.
Yeah.
His father had just died. If you saw Civil War, that's not a spoiler.
That's
Civil
not a
War's been out
spoiler.
a long time.
It's been
If
out a
you
long
didn't see
time.
Civil War, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, go fuck yourself. Go suck a dick.
Yeah, why you jump into this for no reason? Okay.
Yeah. Suck a
Unless
dick.
you're an old black person that just wants to see this because of black positivity, I understand. But if you're young and you watch these movies and you didn't see Civil War, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, that's a big part of the Marvel Cinema Universe.
Okay, it's starring Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa. He lost his father, and he has to come home and basically have the throne. He has to get the throne, and he doesn't understand yet. He's trying to figure out what it means to be a good king. His father tells him something very poignant, where he tells him it's hard to be a good man and a good king. And it is. T'Challa really is trying to be a good guy, because he is a good guy. And he's smart. He's always ahead of people. But it's hard to be a good king. He has people trying to take the throne from him even, now that his father's dead. Also, Wakanda sits on what we know in the MCU as vibranium. It was a meteor that came from space that hit this one part of Africa, and that's where all their technology originates from. It's the same thing Captain America's shield is made out of. It's vibranium. And they're sitting on a mountain of it. It's the rarest metal in Earth. And they're sitting on a mountain. They use it for everything. It even is used in a plant that gives the Black Panther his abilities, his natural abilities, where he gets a little extra strong. It's kind of like a natural super soldier serum, if you ask me.
Yes.
But
which is the basis of his power.
Yeah, but it's the basis of his power besides the suit.
Combined with the suit.
Yeah.
Which we'll talk about in a second.
Yeah, we'll talk about in a second. So it's kind of like Wakanda's the place everybody wish they could live in. It's like this futuristic place on Earth. They're like 100 years ahead of us in every way, culturally, spiritually, just every fucking way. They're like the richest nation on Earth, and no one knows about it. It's a secret. They have a barrier. They put on the illusion to people that living in fucking shanty towns and shit, and poor people, like they're poor. They're supposed to be this poor third world nation, but they really don't want people to come in and take their shit.
So what happens in this film, guys, is when T'Challa is the king, he has to be challenged. Anybody who will. So it's kind of like, let me put it like this. When he's the king, before he becomes king, they say, does anybody oppose? And if you oppose, then you get to challenge T'Challa. And if you get to beat T'Challa, then you become the king. Right? So without giving away any spoilers, that's part of the ceremony.
Yeah,
which is in the trailer.
Yeah. So a part of that's in the trailer, but
So a part of that is in the
We
trailer.
won't tell you the outcome or anything, but
Yeah.
that's part of the ritual when you see him coming out the ship and stuff like that. But the other thing is, I'm not gonna go why, because there's two villains in this movie.
Yes,
there's
two
Claw,
villains.
played by Andy Serkis. Of course, we're used to seeing him as the Planet of the Apes Caesar.
Yes, right.
He
That's
also
right.
was Gollum.
That's right.
He's great with motion capture. We actually get to see his being in this fucking movie.
Yeah. We get to see his face.
And Claw, if you saw Age of Ultron, that's where Claw first loses his arm. In Age of Ultron, Ultron chops it off, and he was stealing vibranium from Wakanda even in that movie.
That's right.
That's the first time they mentioned Wakanda, I believe, is in Age of Ultron, if I'm not mistaken. Bruce Banner mentions Wakanda. Now, in this movie, basically, I'm not going to get into it, but Killmonger,
Played by Michael B. Jordan.
played by the great Michael B. Jordan,
The great Michael B. Jordan.
who, in my opinion, steals a lot of this film.
Yes.
He is fantastic.
We'll get into that later.
But he's always fantastic. I mean,
Yes.
that motherfucker
Stick
knows
to the
how to
story.
play
Stick to the
bubbling
story.
rage. Because that's why Creed worked.
Yes.
He knows how to play an inner rage where you feel that motherfucker's rage.
Yeah.
And he has a reason to be mad. What I like about this movie is he has legitimate reasons to be mad.
Yes, he does.
Now, you might not agree with some of the tactics he uses, but you're like, I kind of agree with that motherfucker.
Yes.
Which
Which we're not going to get into, obviously.
Listen, I'll cry in anything. I'll cry at Bambi getting shot. I'll cry if a movie's hot as nigga does a hot fly kick.
Mo's a bitch.
Yes, I'm a bitch. I'm such a bitch in movies.
Yeah.
And like I can see a busload of children in real life crash and burn alive. I won't shed a tear. But you play that sweeping fucking music and you set up some ill-ass shots of the kids burning, and I turn into a fucking bitch.
That's right.
I admit that. I am a total movie bitch. I'll pretend I have something in my fucking eye.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a bitch. Luckily, movie theaters are fucking dark. Because I cry in everything.
So, in closing, with the synopsis, this film is pretty much about Michael B. Jordan and T'Challa and why T'Challa has to stop Michael B. Jordan, which we're not going to give away, but it's a very powerful moment in the film.
I really don't want to give away too much about
we
this
can't.
movie.
We can't because there's a lot of surprises.
Even the synopsis has kind of twists and turns since the beginning of the movie.
Yes, it does.
But I will tell you this about the movie. It has a powerful message in it. I do think even people that are non-bitches might cry.
Mm-hmm.
Like me, I'll cry at anything. But even tough motherfuckers might shed a tear. Big muscle niggas might leave shedding a tear. Them jail niggas and shit, they might shed a tear at this one or some shit.
Like Ghostface says,
niggas,
big niggas.
I might shed a tear at this one.
All right, so I'll go with my review. Mm-hmm. I thought this movie, not just take away the cultural standpoint of it, and just from a story stand base, is very, very well done. I thought the story was very well done, very powerful. And it leads into the main character making these tough decisions. And he's really put in a situation where, are my friends really down with me? Or the people that follow me, are they down with me? And all of that is being challenged. And I thought the acting was really good. The story I thought was really good. I thought the graphics, the animation in the film were very well done, as Marvel always does. They're very fantastic with their effects. They take their time and they really incorporate that into the film really, really well, as the animation is very important in this film. And now culturally, it's very powerful to see people of color in such high powerful positions. And that alone made me shed tears, because it's very rare that people of color are seen in such a beautiful light, in position of power, ruling, and respect. And that's one thing that I'll be honest, you don't see that in films. People of color being respected as royalty, which I'm not really going to get into, but black people come from royalty. It's a fact.
And not just that. It's not like Coming to America royalty.
No,
Coming
it's
to
not.
America is more European.
Yeah.
Because everything Eddie drew from was this European style of things. And the African part of it was almost a joke.
And this is more of...
This is more authentic to
Yeah, this
Africa.
is more authentic, and it really plays from real actual events, and they incorporate it in this film. So anyway, so that being said, any negative points I have about this film? To be honest, not a lot. Not a lot. It's paced really well. The story's pretty well done. And the villains, oh my God, the villains in this film are fantastic. They really, really it's really amazing. So I would give this film, I don't know, man. I'm torn between a Straight Fire and Volcanic.
It's close.
I really
Make a
am.
decision.
I really am. But if Game Night gets a Straight Fire, this has to get a Volcanic.
Not necessarily, because it's a different range.
It's different.
There's a wide range, so it's a wide range. Not
It's a wide
necessarily.
range. Yeah, you're right. It's because Game Night is different. Is a different type of film. Is Black Panther a perfect film? No, it's not.
Rarely films are, though.
Rarely films are. But you know what? I'm gonna say a very, very high Straight Fire. I would give this a very, very high Straight Fire because it's not a perfect film. Some of the pacing in this film is a little off for me, and I'm really big on pacing. There are some moments in the film where I felt were just a tad dry, but that's very minor, and the story, the cultural thing just really overshadows that. But I do have to mention it. So I give it a high Straight Fire. Highly recommend this film. I recommend you guys see this film highly.
You don't see this film, I'm going to come kill you. That's just the bottom line.
Yeah. Highly recommend you see it in the film before it goes out.
Okay.
Now what are your thoughts?
Okay. First of all, I love Ryan Coogler as a director. Let me just say that. We didn't bring that up before. Ryan Coogler is just fantastic. He did Fruitvale Station and he did Creed. So I'm very, so I'm happy he's 3 for 3 at this point because I really enjoyed this movie. One thing that surprised me was how deep they went in politics. They even talk about the idea of slavery and why didn't Wakanda help enough people? Why didn't they step? Because they're pretty much an isolationist nation. So I really like that they really went there about Wakanda wasn't right for them to be a secret all this time. That's great about the film. Another thing, I for the most part like the pacing a lot in this film. Also, I got to give a shout out to all the women from this film, like Denai Guerrera. I hope I said that name right. She's from The Walking Dead. She's like the leader of the guard. She's fantastic in this movie. Lupita's always great in everything she does. Letitia Wright, who plays Shuri, his sister, I loved her in this movie.
Yeah, she was really, really good. I liked her.
This movie is basically a mix to me of a few things. Has a little Game of Thrones in there, meets James Bond, meets meets Dune. There's a little bit of all three in there. The plant shit reminded me of the spice from Dune.
Yeah, definitely.
Even the casino stuff, him going around the world, is very James Bond. Apparently, this movie was pitched as the James Bond of the Marvel Universe.
Yeah.
That's what Kevin Feige, who runs Marvel Cinematic Universe, and them wanted. They wanted a James Bond type movie. That's why there's a part of it set in a casino. That's why it has this espionage element to it. So it's kind of like Game of Thrones meets James Bond. I thought that was an interesting
Yeah.
melding of ideas.
And going back to the Dune thing for a second, before you give your rating, not to give too much away, but the plant plays a very, very important part in this film, because when he's being challenged for his throne, they take away his power. He has to fight as a regular human against his challenger, which I think should be mentioned.
No, absolutely.
And he fights as a regular human to give equal challenge to his opponent. And when, and whether he wins or loses, he gets that plant. They have to use the plant to recharge his power again. So that's why the plant is so important in this film.
Now,
what you give it?
overall, I really enjoyed this film a lot. But I had 2 overall problems with the film. One I can't say because it's a major plot twist, and it happens like in the first hour and a half. I have an issue with it as a comic book fan.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, he knows what I'm talking about, but I can't reveal. It's too big.
Yeah, it's too big.
If if you guys ever ask for us to do spoiler podcast, a special one on this, maybe we'll do it.
Yeah, we'll do it.
But I can't, talk about that. The other is when the 2 Panthers are fighting at the end of the movie, it didn't feel real enough, because special effect on special effect fighting it's very hard to do. It's easier to do special effect on human fighting in movies for some reason. I'm not a technician, so I can't explain why. Maybe because somebody's really there. But when the 2 Panthers are fighting, it doesn't feel enough like the hits are coming at the end in the last battle scene. Like, I love everything on the ground level where everybody's fighting. I won't give anything away with that. Even some of that's in the trailer.
Yes, it is.
But at the same time, when the 2 main protagonists and antagonists are fighting, there's certain parts of it effects-wise that didn't land for me.
I kind of agree. It doesn't feel authentic enough. I don't feel like there's actually 2 humans battling it out. Oh my God, one of these guys can actually die.
It feels like a video game.
Yeah.
Oh no, scenes. So that's a small gripe, but it's a gripe.
It's worth mentioning.
It's a legitimate gripe with the movie.
Yeah, it's worth mentioning. So what you give it?
I would give this a very, very, very. If it didn't do that at the very end, this would have been a Volcanic. But because it did that, I have to bump it down just a little bit to a straight fire. So it's a very high straight fire. It's in my Marvel top 10, but it's not in the top 3 or 4.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that will decide with repeat viewings and things like that. Like, how many times can I watch this? And also, this is one of the first. This is an MCU movie that's interesting, because when I think of the parts that hit me the most, almost like an action scene. Because essentially, even though a lot of MCU movies have great stories to me and all this other shit, they're still action movies. When I think about this film, it has a rarity where I don't think of the action first. I think of some of the powerful statements made in the movie through the acting first. Like, one of the greatest scenes is near the end. Michael B. Jordan gives a speech that made me fucking cry. I won't say what that is. It's near the end.
Yeah.
It
was really
it was so fucking real.
It was really powerful stuff.
It was so fucking real, man.
So real
I
and
wept
powerful.
like a fucking baby.
Yeah, me too.
I ain't even gonna fucking lie, nigga. You heard baby sniffles in that motherfucker.
Yeah, I agree. It was very powerful.
I'm like, bring your fucking tissues. Don't use all your tissues on your popcorn or some bullshit. Make sure you grab some of them napkins for the tear ducts and shit in this fucking movie. If you have a heart and soul at all.
Yeah.
I barely have one and I fucking cry.
Yeah. I agree.
I sniffled.
So
I sniffled like Wendy Williams doing coke. So
going back to that, right? So in conclusion, that was Black Panther. So save some money and go check it out.